Alright, let's look at what happened in Season 1 of Sweet Tooth. We enter a world that has gone through something called the Great Crumble. Virus H5G9, just known as the Sick, rapidly took out a large portion of the human population. When people started getting sick, they also started having part animal babies known as hybrids. They're still cute, but I can't help but look at these beaks, quills, and talons and think, poor mom. Oh, and the sick also causes purple flowers to grow. It isn't discovered which came first, the virus or the hybrids, before society completely breaks down. Now, hybrids must stay in hiding, as a group called the Last Men try and hunt them down to do experiments on them, believing them to be the cause of the virus. There are 3 main storylines throughout the series, those of Gus, Dr. Singh, and Aimee. Gus's story begins with the man he eventually calls Pubba carrying a baby Gus into Yellowstone National Park and finding an abandoned shack. This is where Gus would live for the first 10 years of his life. Pubba teaches him how to survive by collecting duck eggs, growing plants, and tapping maple trees for syrup. Pubba creates books for Gus and even makes him a stuffed dog out of his socks. Gus often sees a deer and calls it Mama. I mean, it's an easy mistake. Dad doesn't have ears like me, this creature does, must be Mama. But Pubba tells him his mother was another human named Birdie. Eventually, a stranger stumbles on them and marks them with the pink ribbon, which signals the Last Men to raid the area. Pubba tracks down the man and kills him. Unfortunately, he contracted the sick from the stranger, and Gus cares for him until he passes, leaving Gus on his own. Gus seems to do okay for a bit, even finding a box Pubba buried with a picture of his mother that says RR Colorado. But after a series of frustrating mishaps, he loses his temper and lights some weeds on fire, but not the fun kind. Smoke during the daytime attracts poachers who lure Gus with candy bars. They capture him, but a large man appears and saves him. Gus runs back to his home and hides, but the big man follows him. He's surprised that Gus can talk and seems older than most hybrids. Dubbing him Sweet Tooth, he gives Gus advice to stay put, not light fires in the daytime, and helps him fix a few things around the place. Big Man leaves, but Gus packs up and follows him, hoping he can help him go to Colorado. Big Man is reluctant to help Gus, but the dear boy is persistent. After Big Man goes to sleep, Gus raids his food stash and eats most of it, including some medication he calls bad candy. Gus sees that he's upset, but tells him he smells food nearby, and they head towards a visitor's center at the top of a waterfall. They meet a family who has been secluded away up there for 10 years. They have a son only a year older than Gus. Rusty does us all a solid and asks the hard-hitting questions like, do you poop pellets and does your leg twitch if I scratch behind your ear? Bev, the mom, notices a Last Man brand on Big Man's chest and asks what they want. Big Man says he only wants to stay a night and wait out the storm, but he begins to think Gus should stay with the family. The father, George, recognizes Big Man as Tommy Jepperd from his pro football days. Gus is intrigued by watching Rusty with his mom, having never known a mother before. He also learns that Pubba may have been lying about a few things, like the books he made and the fires outside. Big Man is about to leave without Gus when the Last Men attack. He finds a bear trap and uses it to take them all out in epic fashion. George and Bev decide they can't keep Gus because of the danger, so they say goodbye and send them off in a gondola. Big Man takes Gus to one of his stashes where he can restock on medicine and food. He says he'll take Gus to a train leaving for Colorado. Big Man tells Gus about caramel apples at the market while he makes him a disguise. He asserts that caramel is like syrup, but better. Hot take, Big Man. It's close to Halloween, and apparently the kids dress up as hybrids these days, so he's hoping this disguise will help him pass as full human, and, sure, good luck with that. He warns Gus not to do any weird deer stuff that will attract attention. While Big Man goes to buy the train ticket, Gus wanders off and panics when confronted by other kids. But he meets Bear, who helps him relax and urges him to come with her. Big Man stops him and they head toward the train instead. While in line, Gus smells Big Man's bad candy in the crates nearby. Desperate to replace his stash, Big Man takes Gus to find some of the medicine. When guards show up, Big Man takes them out, but not before they notice Gus is a hybrid. Thinking they got away, Big Man puts Gus on the train, but the Last Men find and capture them. They are being led by the Last Men when strangely dressed people attack and take them all out. It turns out Bear is the leader of a group called the Animal Army, whose mission it is to help hybrids. She gives the order to kill Big Man, but Gus leaps in front of him. Bear takes them both to Animal Army HQ, which is an abandoned amusement park. She shows Gus around and names him king for the night. Tiger is upset by the delay in killing Jepperd, and Bear has to pull rank. Side note here, Tiger's makeup is on point, but Bear could obviously use a YouTube tutorial or something. What even is this mess? Bear tries to convince Gus to stay, sharing the story of how the last men killed her family and left her alone, leading her to start the Animal Army with no adults allowed. She even offers to find more information about his mom, Birdie. Gus has a lot of fun until Bear brings up Big Man and tells him about the Last Man brand, but Gus doesn't care and demands to see him. Gus watches as Bear questions Big Man. He says he once was in the Last Men, because it was a time of kill or be killed, but he has changed. He urges Gus to leave while he can and go and find his mom. They begin some sort of weird execution ritual which involves a live tiger named Daisy. It seems very odd that these animal-worshipping teens would hold a tiger captive for the use of executions, but even the member named Tiger seems okay with it. Gus asks Daisy not to hurt his friend, and the tiger seems to listen. When Bear reminds them that their mission is to protect hybrids from harm, and killing Jepperd would harm Gus, chaos erupts, and Tiger stages a coup. Gus and Big Man slip out during the mayhem. On their own again, Big Man thanks Gus for having his back and teaches him how to fist bump. They set off for Colorado, but run into Bear, who has been ousted by her own army. She gives Gus the information they found about Birdie, getting them a partial address and the town name of Gogro. They want to board a moving train, but must first cross the Valley of Sorrows, a field of purple flowers covering a mass grave. Bear and Big Man bicker the whole time, causing Gus to try and cross the bridge on his own. He falls, landing in the field of flowers. While unconscious, he has a dream where Pubba tells him he is ready to help all the hybrids, and he even sees an image of this crazy-looking dude in a mirror. Bear and Big Man are forced to work together to protect themselves and save Gus. Once clear of the field, Gus forces them to fist bump. They all jump on the train, Gus with some added style. It's not a passenger train, so they plan to just lay low. A worker comes into the car and they hide. But Gus can't find Dog and makes enough noise to draw attention. The worker grabs him, but Big Man gets him from behind and they scuffle for a bit before realizing they're old friends. Jimmy Fat Man Jacobs used to play ball with Jepp. It seems Jimmy had one too many hits to the head though, as he's not all there. He reveals that Gogro is Goss Grove in Essex County. Bear spots that there are last men on the train, which Jimmy forgot to mention. They run quickly to the back of the train, but Big Man spots Dog in the car with the last men. He tries to bluff his way through, but they figure him out and he quickly shuts the door behind him. Deciding they need to jump, Jimmy offers to hold them off as long as he can, sacrificing himself so they can escape. Big Man tells Bear she is welcome to stick with them, and Gus spots a sign saying they are in Essex County. Now let's look at the story of Dr. Singh. Dr. Aditya Singh is among the first to see patients with the sick. He discovers the early symptom of a shaking pinky finger. When his wife contracts the illness, he takes her to the hospital while the world is in chaos around them. The next time we see Dr. Singh is far in the future, and he is playing Scrabble with his wife. Zai is a valid Scrabble word for what it's worth. He sees her fingers start to shake again and administers a medicine that makes it stop. Saying they are running low, he rides his horse Trixie out of their gated community and to a nearby medical center. Here we meet Dr. Bell, who makes the medicine that has kept Ronnie in remission and not contagious. Dr. Bell informs Singh that she has late-stage cancer and wants him to continue her research to find a cure for the sick. Singh is appalled by what Bell has done in the name of research. He shows Ronnie the book, and she is also horrified. Singh takes over Bell's practice and acts as the local doctor. He tries to find humane alternatives to Dr. Bell's medicine, unwilling to dissect live hybrids as she had been doing. Singh and Ronnie go to a neighborhood party where Ronnie must hide her emerging symptoms. After a rousing game of charades, their host Doug makes a toast to his late wife. The resident busybody Nancy notices Doug's finger shaking and the party takes a turn. Doug is held down while Singh tests him for the sick. When the test turns out positive, the neighborhood rallies behind their friend, offering all the chicken soup and support he could need through such a trying time. is what I wish I could say. But nah, they saran wrap him to a chair and burn his house down while singing Auld Lang Syne and eating pie. Welcome to civilization after the Great Crumble. Spooked by Doug's death, Dr. Singh decides to put in an order for the secret sauce ingredients, which include a live hybrid. Nancy talks with Singh, and noticing a purple flower in their yard, asks about Ronnie. Singh makes excuses, but is alarmed when Nancy is inside when he returns. She wants to start weekly testing for the sick. Addie sees the danger for Ronnie and follows Nancy to try and stop her. While they argue, Trixie takes matters into her own hooves and kicks the woman, killing her instantly. Addie and Ronnie must now hide the body. Dr. Bell seems to be enjoying her retirement until she gets a visit from General Abbott, the leader of the last men. Recognize this face? He reveals that she faked her illness to get out of his control and demands her research notes. She tells him she gave it all to her replacement Dr. Singh, but he kills her anyway. We see Singh's yard is now covered in the sick flowers. Bob is handing out missing flyers for Nancy, surprised when Singh says he hadn't noticed her being gone. Ronnie is getting sicker, but Singh receives the confirmation on his secret sauce delivery, and they both ride Trixie to the clinic. Anxiously digging through the delivery, they get to the bottom, where a note says no hybrids were available, meaning Singh can't make the medicine Ronnie desperately needs. Ronnie notices water on the floor, and they find the freezer door open, which is concerning as that's where they hid Nancy's body. A mob shows up and confronts Singh. His assistant found Nancy. Singh makes a heartfelt speech about how they should stop pretending that things are normal and support each other instead of making accusations. Unfortunately, Ronnie coughs and the mob instantly goes into full arson mode. They burn down the clinic and perform their typical saran wrap ritual back at the Singh house. As the flames come up and around them, Addie and Ronnie profess their love and absolve each other of any guilt as their neighbors sing Auld Lang Syne outside. Just as the end seems near, the last men show up and General Abbott walks in. He looks around the house until he finds Dr. Bell's notebook. Claiming that's all he needed, he starts to leave, but Ronnie lies and says Addie has figured out a cure that is not in the book. Abbott orders the fire put out and tells them to pack. Addie has a breakdown while trying to find all the Scrabble tiles, knowing the general will expect a cure that he doesn't have, and worrying about their horse Trixie. Ronnie tells him she believes he really can find the cure. After they are handcuffed and hooded, Ronnie gives him the missing Scrabble piece, and Johnny, the only seemingly halfway decent last man, says he let Trixie go free. Our final storyline follows Aimee, a therapist who is lost in a mundane life when the sick hits. She quarantines herself in her office for quite a while as the world falls apart outside. When she finally emerges into an abandoned city, she almost gets trampled by a stampede of elephants and feels truly alive for the first time. She is inspired to go to the zoo and make it her new home. She thrives in this new environment, but is thrown for a loop when someone leaves a baby hybrid in a crate at the gates. Aimee raises the baby as her own daughter, naming her Wendy but calling her Pigtail, which is a bit on the nose for a pig hybrid, but okay. One night, something sets off the alarms, and Aimee learns Wendy has been secretly helping another hybrid named Bobby. After welcoming Bobby to their little family, Aimee decides to open up the zoo as a secret, safe place for hybrids, and she calls it the Preserve. Quickly, the Preserve gains many hybrid residents of various kinds. Most of these hybrids are more animal than human, and few can talk like Wendy, so she struggles to bond with them. Bobby shows up carrying a pink ribbon. Aimee realizes they have been marked, and the last men are coming. They lock up all the doors, but Wendy can smell that people are near. Aimee packs up all the hybrid children and has Wendy lead them through the sewers. She tells them to wait at the church and promises she will come for them. Aimee stays behind, monitoring the last men on the security cameras. Now we flash back to the story of Pubba and Birdie. They both work at Fort Smith Science Lab. Birdie as a scientist and Pubba, or Richard, as a janitor. They meet at a bar after a rough day. She tells him she's been transferred and isn't happy about it. She discovered a microbe that has the potential to make life-saving medicines, but they want to take over her project. Pubba helps her forget her troubles for a while, but back at her place, a phone call interrupts their potential first kiss. The call is Judy telling her the military is seizing all of their work, but she hid away their special project. Pubba offers to use his janitor keys to get her back in the building and save her project. When they get inside, she reveals that the special project accidentally made a miracle, a baby hybrid. Pubba volunteers to distract the military while she escapes with the baby. They meet up, but Birdie hands him the baby and says she must go back and get the rest of her research. Pubba takes the baby and hides him away in Yellowstone. Back in the present, Gus arrives at his mother's house, finding Judy but not Birdie. She gives Gus the key to the attic where all Birdie's research is stored. Going through the files, Gus is confused. Big Man and Bear try to help him understand what it all means, that he was created in a lab and Gus stands for Genetic Unit Series 1, and you thought your family had secrets. Feeling understandably upset and shaken by the revelation, Gus takes off into the woods. Big Man tells Bear to find out as much as she can and goes to find him. While looking for Gus, Big Man thinks back to the days of the Great Crumble. He rushed his pregnant wife to the hospital. He discovers his child is a hybrid, seems to be of a goat or sheep variety, and panics. He almost leaves, but a chance meeting with one Dr. Singh changed his mind. Singh told him, "You'll be surprised what you are capable of when it's someone you love." But when Jepperd goes back, both his wife and baby are gone. Gus stumbles onto an abandoned plane with a working radio. Big Man finds him, and they discuss how family can mean many different things, and that they will always have each other. Gus reveals that he already contacted the preserve, and they are on their way. He shares that he really wants to meet other hybrid kids like him. A shot rings out, and Big Man falls as the last men descend on them. Of course Abbott is there. Man, this guy gets around. They take Gus away in a cage, and now our stories are coming together. Back at the zoo, General Abbott uses an intercom to speak with Aimee. She basically tells him to F off before setting off a firework explosion and escaping. Wendy leads the kids from the preserve to the church, but the last men find and capture them. By the time Aimee reaches the church, all she can find is Bobby's hat. The last men take over what's left of the preserve and bring in Dr. Singh to set up a lab. They keep Ronnie in an isolated chamber as motivation for him. General Abbott says Singh will have everything he needs here and expects him to find the cure. In classic villain fashion, Abbott reveals that he wants to control the only cure so that he can decide who lives and dies. Big Man lays wounded near the plane. We see a truck pull up and someone loads him in the back and drives away. Bear and Judy are still at the house, and they talk about Bear's family. She reveals that her foster parents actually died from the sick, and people came and took her foster sister because she was a hybrid. When she opens her locket, we see Bear's sister is actually Wendy. At the preserve, Gus is taken to Singh to begin the experiments. Already morally conflicted, Singh panics when Gus speaks to him. He demands a different hybrid be brought, wanting more time with Gus. Unfortunately, he does begin the experiments on a different hybrid. Big Man wakes up to find it was Aimee who saved him. She tells him to rest and heal up because tomorrow they're getting their kids back. Thrown into a larger enclosure, Gus meets the other hybrids, and despite his dire situation, he embraces them all. He finally found others like him. The last scene shows Bear finally getting through to someone on a satellite phone from the attic. The person on the other end turns out to be Birdie. And that's where we end Season 1 of Sweet Tooth.